sports. Starting strong is key to any series. Strong starters are the strength for the Mets and Dodgers.
Big-time pitching by Jacob DeGrom. 300 strikeouts for Kershaw.
Poised to be decided on the mound, Game 1 could be a question of the intangibles. Will Clayton Kershaw's perfect record against the Mets hold up to his shaky postseason past? Can Jacob DeGrom overcome a deep Dodgers lineup in his first taste of postseason pressure? Embittered rivals, the Cubs and Cardinals face off for the first time in postseason history. Theirs is a struggle between title famine and title abundance. But now they clash as two of the best in baseball.
The Cubs win the wild card game. Win number 100.
Tonight is the first opportunity to take a series lead for whomever comes out stronger. Game 1 of the National League Division Series.
Anthony Rizzo, one of the young leaders of this Cubs club that continues to rise under Joe Maddon's leadership. Big season for Rizzo, and they played well against the Cardinals as that rivalry takes center stage, as does the thumb of Yadier Molina. But he's in the lineup, and we're in yours. It's NLDS coverage on TBS right now. Welcome to MLB Pregame on TBS, presented by Chrysler. Casey Stern alongside my castmates, the Hall of Famer Pedro Martinez, Gary Sheffield, and the wise one on my right, our skipper, Dusty Baker. Speaking of wise, it's wise for Cardinals fans to be pretty pumped up, guys, that Yadier Molina is healthy enough to be in the lineup and behind the plate. With more on that and the rest of the festivities for Game 1 between the Cardinals and Cubs, we go down to St. Louis at Busch. Here's our own Matt Weiner.
Hey, Casey, many believe Yadier Molina is this team's most valuable player, and he's had 18 days to heal the partially torn ligament on his left thumb, an injury he suffered September 20th at Wrigley Field, of course, against the Chicago Cubs. Mike Matheny told us earlier today, rather non-specifically, that he's going to wear some sort of contraption on the thumb, but expects him to be effective. Nobody knows more about this Cards-Cubs rivalry than Molina, who's essentially played an entire season just against Chicago, 155 career games. Of course, that pales in comparison to the entirety of the series, which dates back to 1892 and now stretches out over 2,344 games. Generations of St. Louis fans have largely been able to enjoy the schadenfreude of Cubs failure, while Northsiders, frankly, have had to settle mostly for rooting against Cardinals opponents in the postseason. But today, a chance for a new wrinkle in this ancient rivalry.
Fans from each side travel well. When we go to Chicago, our fans travel well. When they come here, the fans travel well. And it is an intense rivalry, but it's a friendly rivalry like I haven't seen. You know, there's not as much hatred. You know, I don't think you have to worry about walking through parking lots, you know, getting bottles thrown at your head. But the trash talk is awesome. I love it.
And there will be plenty of that here at Busch Stadium today. Of course, Wainwright represents the institution in this matchup, a franchise that has reached the postseason 12 times over the last 6 years, while Chicago is basically living up to its nickname, Cubs. There are kids, more or less, on the field today, including 3 rookies in the starting lineup here in Game 1.
They're so ready for this moment. We all are. And all the things we do throughout the year that helps keep them loose, helps keep myself loose, helps keep everyone else loose. Hopefully it's all going to pay off here in the next month and us play really loose baseball and have fun with it.
I think it's something that we have on our side. I mean, youth is good, and I think a lot of us are kind of naive to, you know, what we have going on here, which is good. I mean, I think if you're thinking about other things and, you know, I just think that takes away from your game.
Chris Bryant, by the way, who started in left field in the wild card game on Wednesday, is back at third base today, which means Anthony Rizzo, at the age of 26, will be the Cubs' oldest starting infielder. It's the first ever postseason meeting between the Cardinals and the Cubs, the seemingly every year team against the maybe next year team. Game 1 of the NLDS coming up here in St. Louis.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. We talk about the Cardinals and the Cubs, and it's crazy. Both these teams extraordinarily good during the season, but Mike Matheny, guys, doesn't get enough credit. Let's show you what we mean. You look at a 100-plus win team that had this, 100-plus missed games for Matt Adams, starting left fielder in Holiday, Jay and Grichuk and Molina and Wainwright and Garcia, and then Carlos Martinez out for the year, and you've got the Piscotty concussion. From a managerial standpoint, Dusty, not easy to deal with. How about the job Mike Matheny did with this group?
Well, I think he did an outstanding job. I'm telling you that, he got my vote for manager of the year. I know people look at a guy like Mike Matheny on the Cardinals. They're perennial, good teams. They won 100 games, but they don't know the difficulty that winning 100 games is, number one, and number two, to try to makeshift lineups and do different things. And, I talked to Mike a couple weeks ago, and, most of this, Mike does it himself, and he has a great staff over there. And that's the thing. I got to, not only commend him, but I got to commend the scouting staff of the Cardinals. They draft low almost every year, right. and most of their guys came from within the organization.
You look at Yadier Molina, Chef, obviously it's important to have him behind the plate, which we'll get to in a second, but as a hitter, take us through. We're talking about the left thumb, maybe a contraption or a splint. Where is that going to affect him, and show us exactly what the issues might be here with Molina?
Well, when you're a catcher and you're receiving the ball, you're getting jammed about 200 times on every pitch. Now you have to stand to the plate, and it's your bottom hand, it's your lead hand. When you're sitting in the batter's box, you got another hand on top of that thumb, even putting more pressure on it, and that's probably hurting it, just holding the bat. And then to try to swing a bat when a guy throwing 95 miles an hour on the inside part of the plate, just to get that hand to rotate over, that takes a lot of torque and a lot of pressure on that thumb. And hopefully they put something in between it would take the pressure off where you can get to the baseball.
Pedro,
a lot of shock as well.
And it'll be interesting because behind the plate, he's so valuable. One of, Petey, probably the most valuable players in the league that way. You had Jason Varitek for years. Know how comfortable you were working with him. How much does it help not only battery mate today and John Lackey, but really the whole staff to have Molina in this series?
I think it's critical. This is a guy that actually leads everybody in the field. This is a guy that's an extra pitching coach. He's the man that actually makes you feel confident out there. And in any case, if you lose your focus or something, he's there to pull down the right finger. I think this is as important as having a good starting pitcher for this critical first game. So Molina is actually the heart and soul of this team, along with the starting pitcher that's coming out today, Lackey, which is a guy that shouldn't be too difficult for him to catch because Lackey repeats, his motions really well. One of the best in the big leagues at repeating his pitches and his motion and hitting his location.
In your Hall of Fame career, you expose weaknesses of hitters as well as anybody I've ever seen. So tell me, now you know, right? You're a fighter opposing this guy in the ring. You know that Yadier Molina has the issue with the thumb. How specifically is he going to get pitched today?
Well, I'm attacking him right away from the get-go. I'm trying to get this guy to swing the bat right away, and especially on the inner part, to see how he reacts. If he takes it and I happen to get ahead, I'm going to try to bounce something or throw him something soft, see if he chases, trying not to strike out, or he has a checkup, check swing.
Yeah, see, those are the things, from a guy that's hurt his hand, had 3 hand operations, the check swings are the things that I'm going to really, paying attention to today, because those are the ones that really hurt you.
Let's check on the pitch, Matt. Go ahead, Pedro.
I'm trying to get him to do those things in the very first inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've got two guys starting this game who know each other well, right? Teammates on Boston Strong, they're good friends, and they both pitch big in big games outside of on Lester's case, where we sat 3 of us a year ago, and he gave up the 7-3 lead. We don't expect that'll be the John Lester, Pedro, that we see tonight.
Well, you saw that from Lester last year. That was a Kansas City team that was really hot, had all the momentum in the world. But I don't expect this to happen to Lester very often. I've seen him in the postseason and up close, and I saw him grow up in the Red Sox organization. This is a cold-blooded pitcher. This is a guy that's perfect for when the moment gets really hyped up. I like his presence in these critical moments. The bigger the game, the cooler he looks. And this is a guy that so far in the postseason has proven that he has the attitude for it. So I don't expect that to happen. As a matter of fact, between the two good friends that they are, I expect a low-scoring, game and a very poised from both sides.
Lackey's pretty cool too, you know.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. 'Cause this kid was in the World Series against us back in 2002.
When he was a rookie.
When he was a rookie.
Yeah.
And he was cool.
Yeah.
And watch Chef for the base runners, too. Against Lester, something I know Joe Madden and his staff have worked hard on, getting him to handle better. You've seen Lackey plenty. How's he so good in big spots, especially at home, Chef, where he's brilliant?
Well, I think, he's just one of those guys that he's not afraid. He's been there before, and he's been there when he was young. And when you go through it while you're young and you dominate veteran players, now he's the veteran player, these are just normal situations for him. It's just a matter of getting his intensity up, Molina behind the home plate, keeping those emotions in check, and he's going to be fine.
But the thing about Molina that adds another dimension, you don't run on Molina.
Right.
And see, I used to love when Molina wasn't catching because that would change our whole game plan.
I'll tell you what, 2080 scale, compete level of Lackey, the chart might not fit for him. When we come back on the MLB pregame presented by Chrysler, we'll talk Rangers and Jays. Speaking of compete level, will Stroman be able to get it done in Game 2, or does Texas go home up 2-0? The Clydesdales take us out to break. MLB on TBS coverage continues from here in Atlanta. Get on that horse, Dusty.
I used to hate to see those Clydesdales.
If the Dodge brothers walked into a dealership today, they'd be pretty impressed with what's become of their Maverick car company. With all the power, performance, and ingenuity. But knowing them, they'd insist on serving the donuts. Get yours before their history.
130 yards now.
Bill's got a very tough lie here.
Looks like we have some sort of sea monster in the water hazard here.
I believe that's a kraken, Bruce.
It looks like he's going to go with the 9-iron. That may not be enough club.
Well, he's definitely going to lose his stroke on this hole.
If you're a golf commentator, you whisper. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
This golf course is electric.
Head & Shoulders with Old Spice, America's #1 male dandruff brand, keeping you 100% flake-free, guaranteed, while smelling 100% handsome. Take a whiff. Head & Shoulders with Old Spice.
We sent 2 women into a real guy's night out to see if they could find the guy who uses Just for Men. It's me.
No way. I've had no clue.
Just for Men gives you a natural gray-free look in just 5 minutes.
It's really good.
Great-looking hair made easy. Just for Men.
This is the feeling of turning a game you love into a lifetime of cash. DraftKings.com, the daily fantasy baseball destination, is giving away over $300 million this baseball season. And the games are one day, so you can play for your share every single day. Just pick your sport, pick your players, and pick up your cash. Step up to the plate at DraftKings.com. Play with promo code SLIDE and get free entry in our daily contest. Get to DraftKings.com.
This is a true story about the wills of men and the pursuit of a goal to end their city's great drought. This is their journey. This is the quest on TNT.
Hey, LeBron, Kevin, Kyrie. Man, we can't get to the top of the East on a camel. It's hot out here. Where the air conditioning at?
The MLB postseason pregame show on TBS is brought to you by Chrysler.
The last time we saw this man, Kyle Schwarber, he launched one deep into the Allegheny. We'll see what kind of success he has against the Cardinals rotation in this series. Welcome back to MLB Pregame on TBS, presented by Chrysler. Make sure to follow every pitch of the postseason with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay, reviews, scores, pitch tracking, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download the At Bat app and do it today. We take a look at the other games going on. Astros and Royals. Colby Erasmus, another home run, 2 home runs. He's got now 4 in the first 3 games. Johnny Cueto ended up starting this game against Casimir. Neither in it. It's 4-4 in the 7th into the bullpens. Remember, no Greg Holland this year for the Kansas City side of things. Meanwhile, in Toronto, the Jays against the Rangers with no Adrian Beltre. Hanser Alberto again at third base. Rangers up 2-1 in the 2nd. Chris Jimenez hits a high bouncer thrown out at first here. But watch on this play, no one covering third. Rougned Odor, who had a very good game, advances to third, heads up base running on the play. And then it's Hanser Alberto, who comes through in for Beltre, just getting a fly ball to bring in a run, Chef.
Like they say in football, next man up. You know, we don't have our Hall of Famer player. Now the next guy got to step in and do his job.
It made it 3-1 in favor of the Rangers. Alberto would take place in a lot of places, and not all of them good. Let's go to the bottom of the 2nd. Troy Tulowitzki at the plate. Tulo hits a grounder to third, and here's the error by Alberto. Dusty, that ball's going to find you, huh?
Well, yeah, and those things happen. I mean, you know, sometimes it just happens. I'm sure this guy has made that play 1,000 times.
Russell Martin gets the single into right to bring in Troy Tulowitzki and score a run and cut the lead to 3-2. He's been clutch all year. Martin, a huge pickup, doesn't get talked about enough from the offseason. And then Kevin Pillar. Any way he can get a run, the double play brings in another, and 3-3 allowing Stroman Pedro to calm down a little bit at that point.
Yeah, this kid is a warrior, but I think, you know, today the little layoff affected him a little bit.
And they maybe left him in too long. Cecil eventually came in to pitch, and Mike Napoli pinch hit single, scoring Delino DeShields to tie the game at 4. We go bottom 13th. Josh Donaldson thinks he's got it. The bringer of rain has brought plenty of that in the clutch all season long, but then we had some drama. So, Shep, you were a guy I wouldn't want to mess with at the plate. So take us through this. He stares at it a little long, and then we've got some words.
Well, I mean, you know, you got a guy that on the mound that's a hothead, and then you got a guy hitting that's a hothead. So you know the two Titans are going to clash.
What would you know about that hothead thing?
Hey, I don't think
they like each other.
I love this kind of game. You know? I love this.
I wouldn't mess with you somewhere Fausto Carmona's watching. All right, top of the 14th. Chris Jimenez with the single. Bautista throws behind Odor. Now watch this. Here comes that inconclusive nonsense. A replay, and they still don't call it right, Dusty.
No, they don't call it right. And, boy, I know you hate that inconclusive stuff.
I'll tell you what. It's in New York, you'd like to think that they'd get it right. Next batter, Hanser Alberto, and guess what? Odor, part of it again, takes the lead 5-4. They're fired up. They had the claw a few years ago. And then how about the story, Pedro, of Delino DeShields Jr., the Rule 5, making Daddy proud, driving in another run.
I love the way this kid is playing Rule 5. Someone gave up on him, and now the kid is proving to be so valuable.
I like how you say his name, Delino DeShields Jr.
That's right. Well, making Daddy proud, 6-4 Rangers, and that is, how about that? Jays, no backs against the wall for most of the second half. All of a sudden, oh boy, 0-2 to Texas. As we get out to the break, we think about what might happen in the offseason break, and that's a lot of money into this man's bank account. Free agent at the end of the year, Jason Hayward, trying to get the Cardinals deep from October into November. Our MLB on TBS coverage of the postseason presented by Chrysler continues.
Shh. The secret is out. Oh, yes! The librarians are back.
What? You're back!
November 1st at 8.
What?
I don't work within the same rules as traditional law enforcement.
What does that mean?
The president needs plausible deniability.
Welcome to command.
Tell me what I want to know.
Go to hell.
You want to go together? We're even.
What is normal? Our normal is 200 miles per hour. It's 500 degrees. It's protection for 15,000 miles. And 40 below. Our normal is anything but. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
Can a business have a mind, a subconscious, a knack for predicting the future? Reflexes faster than the speed of thought? Can a business have a spirit? Can a business have a soul? Can a business be alive?
I have no technical background, I have no design background, and I was able actually to design a product that had that luxury feel and that didn't break the bank. So when anyone talks to me, hand them my Vistaprint business card, that business card, when I make a connection with someone, has to be phenomenal. It has to be elegant and invoke all the things that Diamond stands for.
A great business card should be simple to create. With Vistaprint, it is. Try 500 business cards starting at just $9.99. Enter promo code TV500 at Vistaprint.com.
When you're out of room to stash your stuff,
Mom?
and you realize your special things need a special place.
Honey, maybe it's time to get rid of Emily's old playhouse.
What?
Come to Public Storage. Our units are clean, well-lit, and accessible 365 days a year. Your first month's rent is just $1. So hurry, because dollar units are going fast. Public Storage. We'll treat your stuff like it's our stuff. Call 1-866-221-7373. Or click on publicstorage.com today.
All right, don't forget, coming up after Cards and Cubs, it's Mets and Dodgers. Jacob deGrom, Clayton Kershaw will have all the postgame coverage on the quadruple header here on a busy day for postseason baseball. Take a look there at Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. I could have been the bat boy.
Yeah,
Were you standing up?
Oh, that be wrong, Dusty Baker. You're never getting asked.
What about Shep, man?
You're never getting asked a question on the rest of this postseason.
Oh, Shep, you gotta.
We said it at the same time. Your voice carried.
I'm sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. The Nationals are calling. Someone... All right.
Okay.
Let's get back to baseball. Talking Mets now. Ask any Met fan, they'll tell you the same thing. Torturous lives, people. I know they wallow in mediocrity, punctuating some of the greatest highlights and lowlights the game of baseball has ever seen. They're nothing if not passionate and very loyal, and Mets fans can't imagine their team's history any other way. Comedian and Saturday Night Live alum Jim Brewer, he's been one of the craziest and most passionate and socially active Met fans this season. For those of you maybe aren't familiar with some of the ups and downs of Mets history, let him and my good friend baseball writer Marty Noble walk you through it.
Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets.
When someone says they're a Mets fan, I know what kind of person they are. Right away, I know they're loyal, faithful, they'll stick with you through good and bad. They know how to go through the rough times.
And that's one of the Mets, if you want to call it a tradition. They become a good team, but they don't last.
But when the Mets are in it, I think it's one of the greatest feelings in the whole world to watch. Even when they don't go all the way, there's big Mets victories that I still hold on to. 1999 LDS Game 4. Todd Pratt with his one swing.
Oh, that's hit well to center field.
You didn't know if it was gone.
Finley goes back.
Oh, he caught it.
Steve Finley, he went back and just ran into the wall, put his back against it, and that was it.
It's over! It's over!
Todd Pratt. Not Piazza, not Ventura.
One of the most unlikely heroes!
He wasn't a no-name, but he wasn't that much of a star either.
Todd Pratt.
He crushed it.
The Mets have won it in 10!
That was one of the big highs. And then, of course, 1999 LCS Game 5.
Bases loaded, one out, 90 feet from Game 6.
Clutch, Robin Ventura, Grand Slam single.
Robin Ventura! The Mets win! There will be a Game 6!
How do you end a game with a Grand Slam?
What a scene at Shea! Have you ever seen anything like this?
Another thing about being a Mets fan is extremes. You have extreme highs to extreme lows. It can never get any worse. This is unthinkable. 88 NLCS Game 4. The Mets dominated the Dodgers all year.
That hurt them to the core, and they had beaten the Dodgers 10 out of 11 that year.
Doc Gooden, Mr. Lights Out.
Davey wanted Doc in. Davey had the utmost confidence in Doc. And left-handed hitter with power.
Sosha hit the game-tying home run, and you just knew, uh-oh.
Rip to right field and deep. Strawberry goes back. She's gone.
That was tough.
We just knew this may be the beginning of a new era that's going to be real ugly.
Aside from the run from 84 through 1990, they've never had an extended run of quality play. 2005, Willie Randolph took over. 2006, they should have beaten the Cardinals.
Bottom of the ninth.
Bases loaded, 2 out. Beltran has murdered Cardinal pitching.
He's been killing it.
The pitch, fastball.
Strike one. It's all right. It's all right. He's sizing him up. Size him up, baby. Strike 2.
The Cardinals are 1 strike away. The 0-2 delivery. Curve struck him out looking.
You don't go down bases loaded looking. Just swing and look dopey. It was so shocking. The entire Mets Stadium was silent.
How anybody could blame one called strike and point to that as the reason the Mets didn't win. There's no chance Beltran was at fault there.
That one still hurts. 1986. Game 6 against the Red Sox.
2 out in the 10th. 5-4 Red Sox. Ray Knight at first. Kevin Mitchell at third.
That was the highest of highs.
2-2 to Mookie Wilson.
Mookie Wilson swings at everything.
Fouled away.
Good.
Fouled away again.
Ah.
Tension mounts some more.
God. Oh my God.
55,078 here at Shea, and they have really been put through the ringer.
Please, if you're gonna lose, just lose. Don't torment us like that. And then out of nowhere.
And it's gonna go to the backstop.
It's a wild pitch.
Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run.
You're tying with a wild pitch.
You got a man on third base. You don't move your glove, you move your body and half of Boston with you.
It's the wild pitch that shocked that entire Red Sox defense. When the ground ball was hit.
Little roller up along first.
And you hear Vince go, it goes behind the bag and the Mets win. And you saw Ray Knight. I remember crying. It went, I can cry in a drop of a dime thinking about that moment.
Mets of 2015 started out on fire. By early summer, there was just no offense at all. Suddenly, the Mets went from being an inept team to being the best one in the National League East.
Now, what do we expect from the playoffs? I have to honestly say, I think they have a chance to win it all because they're just so unpredictable. You just don't know what you're getting. You're gonna get Harvey, who's just lights out, and he pitches 9 innings? Are you gonna get DeGrom, who looks like he's healthy? Conforto, Kadire, Cespedes. Are you gonna continue huge clutch hits? All I know is it's gonna be exciting. I just hope this is the beginning of a couple great years for the Mets and their fans.
All right, there were a lot of Tums that were downed watching the highlights in that video. For some of us, catch Jim Brewer, Mets and More podcast. Jim, one of the funnier guys on the planet. He talked about 2015 where it changed. Let's get into that because one man changed most of it, and that's Yoenis Cespedes. Look at the difference, guys, in the offense with him and without him. Chef, you were a game changer in lineups. How were you able and how is he able to seemingly make everyone else fit better in the lineup around him?
Well, it seemed to me this kid has a clear understanding of what he means to a lineup. It affords the Mets the opportunity to move David Wright up in the batting order to second. So now he don't have the pressure to come through. He missed a lot of games. When this kid came over here, he put him on his back and carried them for a long period of time until he got injured. And he had to take a couple of days off. So I'm anxious to see how his finger responds. But for the most part, it extends this lineup. And as a manager, like you know, Dusty, when I bring my best player back in the lineup, I can move somebody down that I had hitting too far up in the lineup. I can move them down now. and now they can feel
somebody up.
Right, and they can be a lot more comfortable.
One other thing is when you have a guy like that has power, can hit average, can hit in the clutch situation, is a good runner, is a good defense. It's a headache for the opposition. And if I'm pitching and I know he has the tools to do all those things, it becomes even more difficult for me to deal with the rest of the lineup because of his presence in the lineup and the things that he could do. He could be struggling, but you can never relax because he has the power to just get a hold of one and unload. And especially if you have, runners on. You have to be careful all the time. That's the kind of player that you can never relax.
You talk about Cespedes or even Puig on the other side, who we'll get to here with Los Angeles.
Right.
Guys who you have to pay attention to as a manager. Take us back to the Dodger days because obviously you played in great lineups there, but you were talking earlier during one of the breaks about Reggie Smith, and you say he kind of reminds you a little bit of the impact that Cespedes has had.
Well, hey, man, maybe even greater because Reggie Smith was the second best player I ever played with behind Hank Aaron. That's a big, big compliment.
Big statement.
And Reggie Smith was a switch hitter with power, had a great arm, it would walk 100 times, score 100 runs, drive in 100 runs, and this guy made our lineup. And if we had a tough lefty out there, well, Reggie's right at the top. And if we had a tough righty, because we had a predominantly right-hand hitting lineup. And we were like, come on, Reggie, get him out of here. Because, man, he's eating the rest of us up. But when Reggie wasn't in the lineup, boy, we were struggling.
All right, real quick on Puig. From everybody here, would you play him? He's healthy enough to play. Should he be playing every day?
After what we saw a few years back, Puig needs to play. He injects the energy that the Dodgers lineup need. He has speed. He can get wild in the outfield while throwing the ball, but he's reached a point where he's more mature. He understands the game better, and I think having the little experience he has is going to help him now in this moment.
I mean, by not playing him, you're going to lose that energy. And right now in the playoffs, you can't afford to lose that. This kid, not only just from his bat, but on the base pass and in the outfield, he injects energy by playing in the outfield.
Yeah, but see, I disagree. I don't think you can play him because he hadn't had enough at-bats. I mean, this guy's been out like 6 weeks, and he's only had like a few at-bats in instructional.
All it takes is one.
I understand that, but it's not like playing big league, getting that big league at-bats against those guys throwing. Instructional leagues are a whole lot different than the big leagues.
We've got more coming up in a minute on the MLB on TBS pregame show presented by Chrysler. You take a look at Joe Madden. There are no petting zoos in center field, but guess what? The dogs have been let out with the Cubs. They're back with the Cards next.
The Citi Double Cash Card comes in very handy with cash back twice on purchases. Earn once when you buy and again as you pay. That's cash back now and cash back again later. It's cash back deja vu. The Citi Double Cash Card, the only card that lets you earn cash back twice on every purchase, with 1% when you buy and 1% as you pay. With 2 ways to earn, it makes a lot of other cards seem one-sided.
Chrysler continues to break new ground in fuel efficiency, quality, and innovation, which is impressive. But doing it for 90 years is a reason to celebrate. And there's even more to celebrate with 0% APR for 72 months at the Chrysler Anniversary Celebration event. Now get 0% financing for 72 months plus up to $1,500 total bonus cash on 2015 Chrysler vehicles.
Head & Shoulders with Old Spice, America's #1 male dandruff brand, keeping you 100% flake-free, guaranteed, while smelling 100% handsome. Take a whiff. Head & Shoulders with Old Spice.
We sent 2 women into a real guy's night out to see if they could find a guy who uses Just for Men. It's me.
No way. I had no clue.
Just for Men gives you a natural gray-free look in just 5 minutes.
It's really good.
Great-looking hair made easy. Just for Men.
Still haven't tried FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues? Over 1 million fans have already won money. Choose a league. They start at $1. Pick your team. Done. Winners get paid the next day, and there's no season-long commitment. FanDuel pays out $75 million a week. Get off the sidelines and get some. Try FanDuel today. We'll match your first deposit up to $200. Love it or your money back. Guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com and enter promo code PUNTER. That's PUNTER.
Hey, you know what time it is? Postseason time. That means time to get your favorite team's gear at MLB.com shop. Official jerseys, hats, t-shirts, we got them. Official bats and balls, check. Real deal postseason memorabilia, you know it. What do you want? Stuff for him, stuff for her, stuff for the kids. We got it. Get your piece of the postseason right here at MLB.com shop and get shopping.
The MLB postseason pregame show on TBS is brought to you by Chrysler.
Yeah. All right, so this tweet came in. I could listen to Pedro Martinez read off his grocery list, Sean says, and I'd be on the edge of my seat. So we're going to try this out. I just wrote this. Pedro, read a grocery list for Sean.
1 quart of milk, 6 apples, bag of donuts, 3 of chef cigars, and cheese. 1 cuarto de leche, 6 manzanas, una bolsa de maní, 3 de los cigarros de Sheffield, y un poco de queso. You like that?
Hey,
I got nothing to
ask me to
translate it now.
Translate. Yeah, I could have translated for you, brother.
When we come back,
That's good. See,
we've got Cards and Cubs, game 1 of the NLDS. The insanity continues post-game. Enjoy these great matchups of baseball right here on TBS.
The cool of the day, the scent of the trees, and the sounds from all sides of an orchestra performing entirely for you. The Jeep Grand Cherokee, with active noise cancellation to turn any street into a symphony. The most awarded, rewarding SUV ever.
Before there could be a nation, there had to be people willing to fight for it, to take on the world's greatest challenges, whatever they might be. So the U.S. Army masters not only tactics and strategy, but also physics and chemistry. We make battle plans and create breakthroughs in medicine, science, and engineering. Our next mission could be anything, so we prepare for everything.
It is a very familiar setting for postseason baseball. A sea of red at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The 2015 National League Division Series coverage on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. The Cubs and the Cardinals. Chicago coming off their wild card win against Pittsburgh, and the Cardinals back for the 5th consecutive year, baseball's best record this season. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from St. Louis. I'm Brian Anderson, along with Joe Simpson and the Hall of Famer Dennis Eckersley. We are so excited to get this series started. Can't wait for first pitch. This is a matchup of history versus the here and now. The Cubs have arrived. Talk about the history. That's Dennis Eckersley, because you played for both of these organizations. You know all about this rivalry.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was with the Cubs, you felt like you're playing second fiddle to the Cardinals, but that's all changed. But there never was a scenario like a playoff game like tonight. It wasn't like this was a bitter rivalry. It was a friendly rivalry. But because this team is so hot, the Chicago Cubs, I think, Joe, the pressure is on the Cardinals to stop them.
I absolutely agree, Dennis. And the reason is because you think of a team like St. Louis winning 100 games, best record in baseball. They're the odds-on favorite to win the World Series, right? Well, not so fast. They may not win this series.
And the reason is they've got a couple of key players in their lineup that are battling injuries. First of all, Yadi Molina, the all-star catcher, bad thumb. More on that as we go along. Matt Holliday missed a lot of time this year with a bad quad muscle injury. They don't know if he can run. On the other side of things, the Cubs come in red hot. They've won 9 straight games, obviously led by Jake Arrieta, their all-star pitcher. But they've got a 3-headed rookie monster that is just doing great things. How about Chris Bryant, the odds-on winner of the Rookie of the Year? Kyle Schwarber there in the background, the baby bull, and slick fielding Addison Russell there in the foreground. These guys are all outstanding. But Brian, to me, the question mark is for the Cardinals and those injuries to their lineup.
You're right, and maybe the player who has the most impact on this series for both teams is Yadier Molina. Last game was September 20th. He's in the lineup here tonight, as Joe mentioned. Matt Weiner is our reporter. And Matt, the major question for the Cardinals is, how effective will Yadier Molina truly be this series?
That's a great question, B.A., and we won't really know the answer until he gets out there. He'll have what Mike Matheny described as a contraption on that left thumb, fairly non-specifically, but as a former catcher himself, he says he believes Molina will be okay to receive the ball and even to hit. However, he is concerned about the possibility of a foul tip striking that thumb. He also pointed out that the wear and tear of the position likely weakened that ligament long before Anthony Rizzo's slide back on September 20th. One thing is certain, Molina's value to this Cardinal team cannot be overstated. Their staff ERA with Molina behind the plate is more than a run less than it is when he's not on the field. Brian?
Has been and still is one of the game's greatest catchers. We're moments away for the first time ever in the postseason. It's Cubs and Cardinals, and it's coming up next on TBS.
It's here, the most advanced iPhone yet. Get the new iPhone 6s at T-Mobile, the network that's doubled its LTE coverage in the past year. Our new extended range LTE signal now reaches twice as far as before and is 4 times better in buildings. Want more? Get the lowest price on iPhone 6s with trade-in. 0 upfront and just $5 a month with Jump on Demand. Get it now at T-Mobile.
Take a look at these barbecue trophies. Best cracked pepper sauce. Most ribs eaten while calf roping.
Yep. Greatness deserves recognition. You got any trophies, cowboy?
Yeah, well, there's this one.
Best insurance mobile app.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Well, Alvin, does that thing just follow you around?
Like a little puppy.
The award-winning Geico app. Download it today.
All right, listen up. We all know that DirecTV's better at this whole TV thing. So to beat them, we're going to get bigger. We're going to merge with Cable World.
Cable World? I can't stand those guys. They're totally incompetent.
That company stinks, and I mean they smell. I used to work there. I had to breathe through my mouth the whole time.
Shh. They're here.
This is going to be fun, firing everyone.
Get rid of cable and switch to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Every villain knows a getaway car requires abundant power, impeccable style, and of course, the cover of darkness. But what if it's a different kind of getaway you're after? The F-Type convertible and the F-Type coupe from Jaguar. Oh, it's good to be bad.
Jaguar has been ranked highest in customer satisfaction with dealer service among luxury brands by J.D. Power.
This 2015 NLDS telecast on TBS is brought to you by T-Mobile. Share your passion for a chance to win World Series tickets from T-Mobile. Hashtag the Big Seventh. By DirecTV, call 1-800-DirecTV. By DraftKings. Play free 1-week fantasy football for your shot at millions of dollars at DraftKings.com. And by Head & Shoulders. Live head first.
And we welcome you back from St. Louis, Busch Stadium version 3. And there is John Lackey on the mound. You got a pair of old teammates matching up in game 1. John Lackey against John Lester. Teammates with the Boston Red Sox. And Lackey gets the ball for game 1. Is coming off a fantastic season. For the Chicago Cubs, the batting order is presented by T-Mobile. And here's the lineup that Joe Madden will turn in. And it's led by Anthony Rizzo. And without Bryce Harper this season, Rizzo might have made a run at an MVP award. Rizzo finishing third in the National League in runs batted in. He hit 31. He drove in 101. And he fronts a very talented and very young lineup for the Chicago Cubs. And Dennis Eckersley, how about John Lackey? It's amazing that he's been able to put together the numbers he did this season at 36 years of age.
He really hasn't skipped a beat at all. And you talk about Wainwright having going out, he ends up being the ace. And this guy throws nothing but strikes. You see there the 53 walks and the punch-outs fairly high, but he gave them all those innings. You see the ERA, probably one of the best in his illustrious careers, and he's had a good postseason. You talk about the Boston Red Sox closing out games, Game 6 in the 2013 World Series, but this guy goes all the way back to 2002 as a rookie, closing out a World Series game.
Now the Cardinals lost Adam Wainwright earlier this year to an Achilles injury. He's back in the bullpen, but Lackey is now their ace in the starting rotation, gets game one. Joe, how about the St. Louis Cardinals defensively for this game one?
They finished up about in the middle of the pack overall in the National League defensively in terms of fielding percentage, but anytime you've got Molina in the lineup, you've got a stalwart behind the plate. Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Piscotty, who is playing first base tonight. Matt Adams did not make the team because of his injury. Holliday, Hayward, and Grichuk. Holliday with the bad leg. Grichuk has a sore elbow, so Jason Hayward moves over to play center field.
All right, we are ready to roll here. John Lackey's first pitch on the way to Dexter Fowler. It is a strike, and off we go at Busch Stadium. Cubs are flying high, as Joe mentioned. They've won 9 consecutive games. They won the final 8 of the regular season and then won behind Jake Arrieta in the wild card game on Wednesday on the road in Pittsburgh. They are free and easy. They are a team that is in gravy mode right now. Happy to be back in the postseason for the first time since 2008. And yet the Cardinals are the 100-win team that had the best record in all of baseball this season. The only 100-win team in baseball this year. 1-2 pitch to Fowler. And the count will remain at a ball and 2 strikes. And Dennis, it was Fowler in the wild card game that really set the tone for the Cubs. Came right out, had a base hit early in that game off Garrett Cole, scored a run right out of the gates against the Pirates. And all this talk about these young players.
That was absolutely huge. You're talking like Game 7 of a World Series. He ends up with 3 hits.
And a strikeout to start it for Lackey. Got him with a curveball.
You see Lackey, that's his put-away pitch, that curveball.
Tough competitor, too, isn't he, Dennis?
Yeah, you know, you talk about Lackey, goes out there, pumps fastballs a lot, but, you know, this is a totally different situation when you talk about the playoffs, because you got guys hunting that fastball. One swing in the back could cost you the whole game. So already we've seen a couple of breaking balls from the first hitter.
Now Lackey has had a good run this year against the Cubs as well, as Schwarber in his first pitch that he sees in the DS, a pop-up. Johnny Peralta is there, and 2 quick outs for John Lackey. You can expect the Cubs to come out aggressive. Lackey is a strike-throwing machine, especially a first pitch strike throwing machine. Over 70% of his first pitches this year were strikes, and that's a number that has been increasing for him since he's come back healthy. And Joe, you know the Cubs, an aggressive team anyway, are up there to hack.
They have to be. They want to jump, as Dennis said, on that first pitch fastball, and they are hacking away.
You know, Lackey's velocity has went up this year, even at the old age of 37. You see 94 right there on the gun, but this guy can paint.
Now Chris Bryant headed to the Rookie of the Year, led NL rookies in RBIs and runs, led in total bases, doubles, all the major offensive categories. On base percentage, he was the #1 rookie, tied with Jock Peterson for the National League lead in home runs among rookies this year. And he'll be the runaway for the Rookie of the Year as Lackey pours in strike 2.
Where's that little drop down fastball? 95. What is that? He's all geared up to begin with, throwing 95.
And doesn't chase the slider.
But how about what this kid did when he was called up? He missed the first week or 10 days of the season. And after that, only Nolan Arenado of the Rockies drove in more runs than Chris Bryant.
Lackey's got them on their feet early, looking for a nice clean inning to get this crowd right into this one. And the 2-2 lays off a tough slider from John Lackey. 3-2 to count to Bryant. '26 homers, 99 RBIs. He broke both records held by Billy Williams in his rookie campaign for the Cubs back in 1961. And Bryant rips one into left field. Holiday on that hobbled leg, able to run it down, and that's the inning. And that's a great start for Lackey and the Cardinals.
This is a true story about the wills of men and the pursuit of a goal to end their city's drought. This is The Quest on TNT.
Hey, LeBron, Kevin, man, we can't get to the top of the East on a camel. It's hot out here.
Exxon and Mobil give you energy for all life's journeys, because where we go is who we are. Exxon and Mobil, energy lives here. Exxon and Mobil are proud Plenty partners. Lots of points, lots of places, one rewards program.
There's only one way to get a gold PS4. And that is not it. Grab a Quesarito or Volcano Quesarito Big Box for your chance to win a limited edition gold PS4 bundle only at Taco Bell.
There are those who stop and those who push on. So go, be something more.
Hello. Welcome.
That's an egg!
It's hard to prepare for something when you're not ready for it, huh?
Absolutely.
Want to meet a car that can detect things before you can?
Yeah.
Meet the Chevy Equinox with available forward collision alert. It can help warn you when you're approaching another vehicle too fast so you can take action.
I need that.
Ford Escape doesn't have that.
Oh, come on, Ford. Love this vehicle. Very smart car. This is really nice.
You know, Viagra helps guys with erectile dysfunction get and keep an erection. Talk to your doctor about Viagra.
Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain. It may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
We're off and running game one of the NLDS here on TBS. Matt Carpenter ready to lead off for Mike Matheny's St. Louis Cardinals. Back in the postseason for the 5th consecutive year, the 4th straight under Matheny, and Matt Carpenter with a big season in the power game this year. He led these Cardinals in home runs, and he gives you a major power weapon right out of the gates. And it's a lefty-lefty matchup right out of the gates as well. John Lester on the mound for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, a long time Boston Red Sox pitcher, came over to Chicago, free agent from the Oakland A's, who the Red Sox had traded to. Record doesn't show how good a year he's had. You'll see a lot of cutters tonight. Throws his fastball 92 to 96, but this is a huge reason why the Cubs are where they are right now, because of John Lester.
And a huge reason they gave him a 6-year, $155 million deal.
That too.
They wanted him for these games.
And Carpenter sends that one into left field. And that's Chris Coughlin out there for the Cubs, the ever-changing, extremely versatile Chicago Cubs. How do they set up defensively tonight, Joe?
Yeah, Brian, they get moved around a lot, and perhaps as a reason They make a lot of errors. 111 errors for the Cubs defense this year. That's the 4th most in the National League, and 102 by their infield. And yet it's a very athletic infield. Things really changed when Russell and Castro were moved around and Russell went into the shortstop spot. 3 guys who can go get him in the outfield. And I say that knowing that Kyle Schwarber is a catcher by trade, but he's done a great job of adjusting to the outfield.
And a great keystone combo with Russell and Starlin Castro. Steven Piscotty, who led all rookies in the National League in batting average this season. And he hit extremely well here at Busch Stadium. Very comfortable spot for him. Hit .346 this year at Busch. And hit .305 with 7 homers, 39 runs batted in. It is impressive that he is even back and playing after a very violent collision in Pittsburgh just 10 days ago. I think many thought his season, including the postseason, might end with a collision with Peter Borges at PNC Park, but he has come out of it clean, no concussion. And not only does he get the start here tonight in Game 1 of the NLDS, he's also getting the start at first base. This is one of the more wicked injuries, and at the time it looked like a very serious injury as Piscotty was knocked out cold by the knee of Peter Borges. And so, Joe, you touched on all of the injuries that the Cardinals have dealt with to their name players, guys that have been around for a long time. It's fortunate that Piscotty's back.
Very fortunate. Everybody thought that that was an extremely serious injury, especially when they had to cart him off, but he's cleared all of the concussion protocols and he's good to go. I don't know that is the case for David Ross, who took a foul ball.
David Ross has had
his share of concussions.
Yes, he's had concussions in the past. He's got that hockey-style mask. He is the personal catcher of John Lester. One of the reasons why there are so many standards put in for concussions is because of the guy in the Cardinals dugout, the manager Mike Matheny, who endured a number of serious concussions in his day. And that is going to be something to watch the rest of the game.
Had a lot to do with him retiring.
Scotty sends one a long way out of here, but foul. 2-2 the count.
Talking about having your own personal catcher, that's a beautiful thing as a pitcher. I think we all would love to have our own personal catchers, right? There's not enough catchers to go around, I think.
Cubs carry 3 catchers on their team with Montero and Schwarber. Piscotty, right field line, long run, that's going to bounce. Schwarber plays it into the corner. That'll be a ground rule double for Steven Piscotty. So he pulls one foul and then drives one to the opposite field for an extra base hit. Picks up right where he left off in the regular season.
I mentioned that the Cubs won 9 in a row to end the year, including the game in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals lost 6 out of 9, and they got shut out each of their last 3 games in Atlanta. They had a hard time scoring runs, and an early run tonight would go a long way toward propping their offense up.
Well, the last Cardinal to score a run, Cruz and Wong on Cruz's home run, that was back on September 30th. It's the last time they've experienced a run scoring. That was Game 2 of that series as Matt Holliday stands in. And all eyes on Holliday as well. Now, he's not running well, and you probably won't see him busted to first base on a routine ground ball. A couple of trips to the disabled list with a quad injury.
But already a good sign, Brian, when he flagged down that fly ball off Brian Spatz in the first.
It didn't look real pretty yet, but he caught it.
Yeah, he got there. He put on a show in batting practice today.
And Holliday back up the middle and a base hit. Piscotty around third to throw home. One hops the tag, not in time. And Piscotty is in, and Matt Holliday delivers right out of the gates.
So surprising that Lester comes back with a fastball right down the middle again after the good swing that Holliday had at the last fastball. You see middle, he hits a bullet right up over the head of Lester's head. You see Piscotty sort of paused there for a second. That's why the play at the plate was pretty close, because he didn't get a good break. Beats the throw, and that's the run you're talking about. They haven't scored in a long time, Joe.
And they've missed his bat in the lineup so much this year. And And when he's been in there, he's hit over 400 with runners in scoring position, and did it again there.
What a start for the Cardinals. Lackey retires the Cubs in order with a strikeout. Now Hayward on the first pitch. Jason Hayward hitting cleanup tonight, and out to Coughlin. That is out number 2. Back to first goes Matt Holliday.
I tell you guys, Piscotty showed you some wheels too, because he froze for a second to make sure that ball got into the outfield and still scored from second on the hit.
That's impressive from a guy that I thought would never be playing.
Yeah.
Now Holliday had just 22 at-bats after he came back from the disabled list in mid-September, and only 4 hits in those 22 at-bats, and that was the wait for Mike Matheny. What is he going to do? Is he going to go with experience, guys who have been there, his big names from postseasons past, as Johnny Peralta takes strike 1.
I know Lester has a hard time holding runners on, but there's no way that Holliday is going to try to make an attempt at a steal. But you're going to see it before the night's out.
And that skips away from Ross. Holliday will go to second on a wild pitch from John Lester. Let's take a look at the Chevrolet pitch tracks for the left-hander John Lester. And Ecky mentioned the cutters, and he can be very tough on right-handed hitters with that.
Yes, he is, but he throws a lot of fastballs. I think that's a mixture of fastballs and cutters is what it is, and that's why it's 80%. But you know, he'll throw that front door cutter to a left-handed hitter too.
1 ball, 1 strike. Power hitting shortstop Johnny Peralta at the plate for St. Louis. A big swing. He gives them a major weapon. 17 home runs this year for Johnny Peralta. He drove in 71. He's among the most productive shortstops in all of baseball. And he's got some postseason history as well. 54 career postseason games. This is nothing new for so many of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1-2 the count. And down he goes. So Lester with a strikeout to end the inning, but the Cardinals strike first. And it's Matt Holliday who drives in Piscotty.
Brisket is a cut of beef that's been smoked for at least 13 hours. Bacon is a present pigs give you when you're good. Flatbread is a shape of bread. Arby's, we have the meats.
FanDuel's definitely changed my Sundays. It's made it a lot more interesting.
FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues are paying $75 million a week with immediate cash payouts and no commitment.
I've deposited a total of $35 on FanDuel and won over $2 million.
Just choose a league, pick your team, and get your cash winnings after Monday night.
It's like the best adrenaline rush ever.
Try FanDuel today. We'll match your first deposit up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com and enter promo code END.
We live in a pick and choose world. Choose, choose, choose. But at bedtime, why settle for this? Enter Sleep Number. Don't miss the Columbus Day sale. Sleep IQ technology tells you how well you slept and what adjustments you can make. You like the bed soft. He's more hardcore. So your sleep goes from good to great to wow. Only at a Sleep Number store. Right now, save $600 on the #1 rated bed plus 24-month financing. Hurry, ends Tuesday. No better sleep with Sleep Number.
Take a look at these barbecue trophies. Best cracked pepper sauce. Most ribs eaten while calf roping.
Yep. Greatness deserves recognition. You got any trophies, cowboy?
Yeah, well, there's this one.
Best insurance mobile app.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Well, I'll be. Does that thing just follow you around like a little puppy?
The award-winning Geico app. Download it today.
Now rookie Stephen Piscotty with a double and a run scored. And let's take a look at StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, Joe.
Yeah, you see him freeze there for just a second, but he had a great turn at third base, and he needed one because this was an excellent throw from Dexter Fowler. 19.6 miles an hour. That's picking him up and laying him down from second base for the big first baseman.
Here's Anthony Rizzo. He'll lead off for the Cubs. And the Cardinals behind Lackey, taking an early lead. Holiday driving in the run. And now Rizzo to be followed by Castro and then Chris Coghlan, the left-handed hitter. John Lackey with a nice clean first inning. Started with a strikeout and then a couple of outs in the air. Rizzo pulls it on the ground, and you see the shift is on for St. Louis.
But he's got power everywhere.
Yeah, a little jam shot out there in the grass in the rover position is Wong for out number one.
That's going to be a good matchup tonight, and Lackey wins that battle because Rizzo stands right on top of the plate, and Lackey likes to pitch in. And Lackey able to jam in there.
That's a really difficult thing to do. You know, to a guy like Rizzo, for me, throwing the ball inside to a left-hander with a guy right on the plate, if you miss, it's right down the middle. I mean, but you got to throw him in. You're playing him to pull.
Here's Starlin Castro, now the Cubs' second baseman. And hard to imagine that Castro, who is only 25 years of age, but he was in the big leagues at age 20, and so he is the longest tenured Chicago Cub right now. So many changes for the Cubs. As Lackey sinks one in on the outside corner for a strike. Lackey's throwing with good velocity early, 94, 95 miles an hour. Home plate umpire tonight is Phil Cuzzy, and there's always an eye on the home plate umpire, especially with Lester and Lackey, who command the corners very well. A chopper over to third, scooped up nicely, Carpenter, and Castro is retired. 2 up and 2 down for Lackey, and he's retired the first 5.
Little do or die pick by Carpenter makes a nice play. It's pretty much all he can do. He charges this ball and takes a shot at it, picks it clean. Pitcher sort of holds his breath right there because that's an out, but could have easily ran up his arm.
2 quick outs for Lackey, and here is Chris Coghlan. Coghlan just started swinging the bat better towards the end of the season. The last series of the year in Milwaukee had been in a long slump, and his spot as a starter in the postseason was in question. Madden can do a lot of things with his versatile players, and there's always, Joe, that decision to be made whether Coghlan starts in left field, which moves Schwarber to right, puts Bryant at third base, or you put Bryant in left field, or you move Schwarber and let him play left field and have Bryant play third base. So there's a lot of mixing and mashing, but tonight Coghlan gets a call against Lackey, mostly because, as Joe Madden said, he's got good history.
Yeah, he's
against John
8
Lackey.
for 17 against him.
Friendly,
and he's got good speed.
Friendly strike zone so far, Cuzzy for Lackey.
Got him. And already a little barking at home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. John Lackey finds the edge. 6 up, 6 down, 2 strikeouts. 2 scoreless for Lackey and the Cardinals.
What's happening here is not normal. It's extraordinary. 291 people, 350 tons, 186 miles per hour. You're not sure what's on the other side to that time after you land. But momentum pushes you forward. You are a test pilot, breaking through where others broke. This is why you take off. Same reason the pioneers before you went in canoes and covered wagons with wild eyes and big fevered dreams. And it's why we're with you. 80,000 people now, on the ground, in the air, engines on. Because there is no stop in us. Or you. Only go.
These wings are pretty great, huh?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, it's a wing ring.
What's a wing ring?
I ask it what kind of wings I should have, and it tells me. Today it said honey barbecue.
I want to ask it a question.
Oh, you know what? I got like 2% battery on this thing.
Well, come on, let me just...
Yeah, I wish I could.
You have battery in a ring?
Yeah, it's like 8 gigs.
That's 2 different things. One is memory and one's battery life.
Cool. All I know is like, no, you can't use it.
Good luck choosing 100% all-white meat boneless chicken wings in 6 delicious flavors. Or buy one, get one free every Monday night. This is how you Sonic.
Chrysler continues to break new ground in fuel efficiency, quality, and innovation, which is impressive. But doing it for 90 years is a reason to celebrate. And there's even more to celebrate with 0% APR for 72 months at the Chrysler Anniversary Celebration event. Now get 0% financing for 72 months plus up to $1,500 total bonus cash on 2015 Chrysler vehicles.
To play in October, you got to have that kind of attitude. You've got to have the attitude that game's not over. You know, it just shows you they play with emotion. You got to play with some emotion, or sometimes you just let it out. We're really excited. We're really fired up.
New York Mets, National League Eastern Division champions.
We can't just use all the emotions and leave all the adrenaline here. We've got to take it with us.
We head to the bottom of the second inning in St. Louis, Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals have a 1-0 lead on a Matt Holliday one-out RBI single in the first. Lester back to work. Randall Grichuk leads off for St. Louis. Another of the wounded birds coming in. You see that wrap on his elbow, his throwing elbow. He's throwing the ball much better, but there was a period there they had to shut him down late in the season because he could not throw. Grichuk brings a big power bat to the lineup for Mike Matheny. Hit 17 home runs this season.
Didn't think he had power with his bat like that.
Got a wave and a miss, and John Lester picks up his second strikeout. He got Peralta to end the first. Lester starts the second with a K.
He's one of those guys, Zach, that starts funny, but he always winds up back in a more traditional spot.
Now big hand for Yadier Molina. Matt Weiner reporting earlier about the brace and the heavy tape that he's wearing on his left thumb. I'm not even sure the Cardinals care what he does at the plate. He's the ultimate underdog at the plate right now with an injured thumb. It's all about how he handles his pitching staff, and what a major boost deck to get this guy back for St. Louis.
You know, I was surprised he was even in this lineup tonight. I didn't know what they were going to do, and it's kind of dangerous because if he does get hurt, he's gone for the rest of the playoffs, right? If he happens to re-injure it.
And they take him off. If they have to take him off, it includes the championship series. He could come back for the World Series if they made it that far, but it's a risk worth taking if you're Mike Matheny.
I watched him take batting practice, guys. I saw no signs of any problem. I saw him hit balls to right. I saw him pull some balls. He showed no signs of that thumb affecting his swing.
Got a funky stance right now.
And an inside-out swing as usual. Well, Molina was actually re-injured against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. This was the last game he has played until tonight. It was a tag on Rizzo on a throw from Hayward. Now, last year, Molina injured his thumb sliding into third base. He tore ligaments, re-injured it. They said right out of the gates it wasn't that bad, and Molina will take a called strike 3, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for John Lester.
Boy, to me, this was a very, very tentative at bat. Swung the bat once, took everything. I mean, that doesn't look real good to me, the way his approach at all. It's like he's just like a pitcher hitting.
I'm wondering if on the foul ball, you know, how different it is,
right?
Live conditions versus batting practice, if that foul ball affected it somehow.
So Lester, after the RBI single by Holiday, has retired 4 straight. The last 3 have been Ks. And here is Colton Wong, who takes a strike.
Or he's dotting it now.
And what he likes to do to the lefties is throw to that spot and then throw the cutter a little bit off the spot and move it away from it, hoping he'll swing.
Now a little flare, that's going to fall fair. And Wong with great speed on his way to second base. Coughlin's throw comes in late. And Colton Wong doing a little dance. A 2-out double for the Cardinals' 8th place hitter.
How do you hit this pitch? I mean, this ball is in the catcher's glove, down and away. Boom. Takes it the other way. Can't do anything about that. Easy double for Wong with his wheels.
Well, Wong this year hit .262. He had a great year against the Cubs, though. Hit .333 against Chicago. Had a memorable walk-off home run last year in the NLCS against the Giants. That was in Game 4 off Sergio Romo. So that clears the pitcher spot here. Lackey at the plate with 2 away, facing his old buddy, longtime friends, Lester and Lackey, and they said they'll be great friends after this series is over. But right now they're frenemies, I think. It's 2 very competitive pitchers on the mound matching up here in Game 1. Lester and Lackey were teammates on the 13 Red Sox ball club that came in here to St. Louis and won the World Series in 6 games. And Lackey was on the mound in Game 6.
And Lackey pitched so many great games in that series. In the series before against Detroit, I think he beat Verlander 1-0. But he won Game 6 of the World Series.
Well, they were traded on the same day last year.
Strange.
Lester to Oakland, Lackey here to St. Louis. 0-2 pitch. No problem for Castro, and that will retire the side. So Lester settles in here at Busch Stadium. 1-0 Cardinals. We go to the 3rd.
Looking for a real breakfast burrito? Don't look for it at a burger place. Get everything you love about breakfast scrambled, chopped, and dropped into a warm flour tortilla. Stick with the burrito experts, Taco Bell's Grande Scrambler.
Here's something to shout from the mountaintop. Cricket's plans start at $35 a month after $5 auto-pay credit, with more 4G LTE coverage nationwide than T-Mobile or Sprint. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
Who's ready to have a baby? Buster Posey.
You're not my doctor.
Come on, I'm sort of your doctor. I mean, we both wear gloves, and we always deliver in the clutch. Gloves? Clutch.
No, I'm sorry.
Perhaps we take a vote?
No.
Okay, guys, are we gonna do this or not? Let him try.
No.
Sorta you isn't you.
Honey, you're embarrassing me in front of Buster Posey.
Esurance helps make sure you only pay for what's right for you, not someone sorta like you. Esurance, official sponsor of Major League Baseball.
Luxury is being pulled in a new direction, drawn to an idea whose time has come. Built with a revolutionary carbon core that is lighter, leaner, stronger. Because the best way to predict the future is to create it. Introducing the most innovative vehicle in its class, the all-new BMW 7 Series. Driving luxury.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
The upcoming schedule is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Coming up next, it is Mets, Dodgers, Jacob deGrom, and Clayton Kershaw matching up game one of that NLDS. And then we're back at it tomorrow. Cubs, Cardinals, Mets, Dodgers for games 2 there. And then Sunday, MLB Network has the Royals and the Astros. Royals hung on to win game 2. That one just ended moments ago, a 5-4 Kansas City win. And then the Rangers and the Blue Jays. Addison Russell leads off for Chicago. How about the Rangers, by the way? Hanser, Alberto, all these young players we're focusing in on in this series. Hanser Alberto, the replacement for Adrian Beltre at 22 years of age, had the game-winning RBI in Toronto in the 14th inning.
You know, amazingly, he had the error that cost them early in the game, really a routine ground ball that if they had lost, he would have been the GOAT. Meanwhile, he's styling right now.
So the Rangers up 2-0 in that series. 21-year-old shortstop Addison Russell at the plate for Chicago, one of the 3 rookie mainstays you mentioned in the Open, Joe.
It kind of turned their season around when Joe Madden made the move to put him in the lineup at short. Let Starlin Castro know that it was not a day off for him. It was a position change with Russell going in there. Now he's made quite a few errors, but what an athlete. And what a great injection of athleticism into their lineup.
He came to the Cubs from the Oakland Athletics. That was the deal made last year. Jason Hamill and Jeff Samardzija traded from Chicago to Oakland. Hamill's back with the Cubs.
Lackey's having a hard time getting on top of that fastball. You know, I've seen him recoil a couple of times. Trying to paint the outside corner right there. See the little recoil, a little hop, skip there. He's done that a few times. Molina back there is telling him a few things.
And Russell pulls one foul.
To me, that's not his arm slot. He's down a little bit.
He just recently for the Cardinals, he's been dropping down to that 3/4 motion, and also a bit of a quick pitch or a hurry up pitch, not a quick pitch, that's illegal, but a hurry up pitch and the windup as well as Russell fights another one off.
He's getting some good action on it. It's moving. Again, a lot of fastballs, both sides of the plate. Got a good breaking ball too.
To dot that outside corner with sinkage out there.
3-2 pitch. And hit hard into center field. Coming in is Hayward, playing very deep, but able to make the sliding catch. Well, Hayward showing Russell a lot of respect. He was way back there. He's a right fielder by trade, certainly comfortable in center field. He makes a nice play.
See, the fastball ran back over the plate. Russell gets a good piece of the wood on that, and you see a long ways to go there for Hayward. He goes into the dive.
It's only typical, guys. If you're not a center fielder by trade, you're going to play a little deeper than what you're used to seeing guys play out there just to be safe and make sure the ball's not hit over your head. Good closer there by Hayward.
Hayward played 8 games in center field during the regular season, most of those coming recently. He is a game changer defensively. Terrific throwing arm, covers a lot of ground in that 6'6" frame too. He can go get them. David Ross, the roller to short. Peralta, and a low throw dug out by Piscotti. So a good play over there by the rookie at first base. That gives us a chance with 2 outs to check in with Casey Stern in our Atlanta studio for an update. Casey.
All right, BA, thank you. This game break brought to you by Bleacher Report. Will Harris on the hill in the 7th, and one of Joe Madden's favorite players, Ben Zobrist, with the base hit the opposite direction to get the run in. It's the game winner. Series will go even back to Houston. It'll be Edinson Volquez against Dallas Keuchel, undefeated at home during the season. Back to you.
All right, Casey, thanks. And more trouble for Johnny Cueto in the postseason. Acquired by the Royals to bolster that rotation. Well, John Lester had his troubles against Kansas City last year. You have to wonder, this is the guy who his last postseason appearance did not go well in the wild card game last season, pitching for Oakland against Kansas City, who would go on to win the World Series. And Lester grounds out against his good buddy, and that's that for the Cubs in the third. That's a 1-2-3 frame for Lackey.
It's here. The most advanced iPhone yet. Get the new iPhone 6s at T-Mobile, the network that's doubled its LTE coverage in the past year. Our new extended range LTE signal now reaches twice as far as before and is 4 times better in buildings. Want more? Get the lowest price on iPhone 6s with trade-in. 0 upfront and just $5 a month with Jump on Demand. Get it now at T-Mobile.
Winner picks lunch?
Yep.
Pizza?
Nah.
Sushi?
Had it yesterday.
Baba ganoush?
Baba ganoush.
Barbecue? Nope. Vietnamese? Empanada?
No bueno.
Waffles?
No.
Tandoori?
Nah.
Hey, what are you doing?
Using Grubhub to order my signature sandwich. The Slammer!
I was out!
Get the food you want from the restaurants you love. Anytime, anywhere.
I hate the Slammer.
Grubhub, delivering your favorites.
It's intelligent enough to warn of danger from virtually anywhere. It's been smashed, dropped, and driven. It's perceptive enough to detect other vehicles on the road. It's been shaken, rattled, and pummeled. It's innovative enough to brake by itself, park itself, and help you steer. It's been in the rain, the cold, and dragged through the mud. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz GLE. It's where brains meet brawn.
Do you know the secret to a happy home in these modern times? It's a housewife who's in control of the finances.
Actually, any wife, husband, or human person can use Progressive's Name Your Price tool to take control of their budget.
And while the men do the hard work of making money, she can get all the car insurance options her little heart desires.
Or the women might do the hard work of making money.
Women don't have jobs.
Is this guy for real?
Modernizing car insurance.
That's enough out of you. The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
Where is your husband?
The Beam family has a long history of doing things their own way. They age every drop of Jim Beam twice as long as the law requires. So, 4 long years from now, I'll be back for this one. Jim Beam, make history.
Head & Shoulders with Old Spice, America's #1 male dandruff brand, keeping you 100% flake-free, guaranteed, while smelling 100% handsome. Take a whiff. Head & Shoulders with Old Spice.
The 2015 NLDS on TBS is presented by T-Mobile. Moments ago, Matt Weiner caught up with Cubs manager Joe Maddon.
Well, Joe, you brought John Lester for games just like these. It seems like he's settled in since that first inning. What have you seen?
Well, they got a double down the right field line, you know, and then they got a base hit up there. Well, that's going to happen. I think he looks really good, actually. The fastball velocity is where it needs to be. Really hasn't established the cutter yet, but he will.
You like to say, don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure. Where's the ratio on that for your young team here as we start this series?
I went around to every guy today before the game and told them to enjoy the moment. That was my message to them today. There's no team meeting right now. Actually, I liked the way we were before the game. I thought after that wild card experience, kind of relaxed, almost like a regular season feeling to it.
Thanks, Joe.
My pleasure, buddy. Thanks.
The always interesting Joe Maddon. Thanks to Matt and Joe between innings. We'll hear from Mike Matheny as well next inning. Matt Carpenter leads off for St. Louis. Back to the top of the order for the Redbirds here with Carpenter, Piscotty, and Holiday. And it is interesting to go through that Cubs clubhouse today. They were a loose, loud bunch.
That's what I was going to say. I wish somebody would have made me loose. I never enjoyed the moment. I mean, it is tight land. I mean, this is serious stuff, you know. I go over there and watch those kids, and that's what tells me a lot about that club. Tells you a lot about Joe Maddon. I mean, they have so much confidence. I don't know if it's confidence or just young and they don't know any better. I mean, you're supposed to be nervous here.
I thought that when I saw this team play in the middle of the season, Dennis, and that was, they're young. They play young and with a lot of energy, but they don't know that they're not supposed to be this good. And they are good.
That's what makes them scary to me.
Well, Carpenter has worked it into a full count. It's the first 3-ball count for John Lester. Giving up that first inning run, and the payoff is fouled away by Carpenter. It'll stay at 3-2.
One of the things, guys, about that first inning run for this Cardinal team that had to give them some confidence too is the fact that they don't hit lefties very well at all. In fact, their team batting average, the worst. in Major League Baseball as a team at 230. So to collect a first inning run off John Lester, that's a big boost.
And another 3-2 hit hard into right center field. Long run, Schwarber, and he runs it down. Kyle Schwarber. Excellent play in deep right center field. Now he is a work in progress as an outfielder. He is a converted catcher. He looked good on that run.
Fastball right down the middle. You think Carpenter went bridge here, and he ran that ball down. That's a long ways to go for a guy that can't really pick him up and put him down. Doesn't necessarily catch it clean. You wonder if that ball's gone in Wrigley, depending on the weather.
Might have been, but he has worked really hard on his outfield play. Out for early work just about every day during the regular season.
Now knowing outfield is where he's going to get his at-bats, as Piscotty a swing and a miss. Schwarber came up through their system as a catcher. He wasn't there long. He was just drafted in 2014. He was the 4th pick out of Indiana. But as they say, the bat plays, and Joe Maddon's going to find a way to get his bat in there, and that means more outfield work. Now, when he first started playing in the outfield, it was left field. Most recently, it has been right field. And a tremendous amount of work to get him ready for the postseason, and he feels comfortable in the outfield now as Piscotty fouls one away. The count remains at 0-2.
What was the nickname you gave him?
Baby Bull.
Baby Bull. Is that what he was?
He is solid, boy.
Version 2.
Yes.
The Baby Bull.
The new Baby Bull.
Schwarber with 36 career games in the minor leagues in the outfield. They had him pegged as a catcher. A little off speed. Piscotty able to check his swing.
We were talking about these guys, though, these young players. And what I keep hearing about all of them is their baseball instincts and their baseball intellect. They all know how to play the game right. They know what to do with the ball when it's hit to them. And I think that speaks highly of not just these individuals, but their organization too, and how they've been taught.
Now, no matter how briefly they were in the player development system, it's still happening here at the major league level. And you could say all of those things about Stephen Piscotty as well. He went to Stanford, was a first-round draft pick. Very disappointing psychological season last year. He was a third baseman. Looked like there was a roadblock as they had Carpenter play third base, wondering where he was going to end up in the big leagues. Actually went back to get an engineering degree. Not sure where his baseball career was headed. He knew he was going to get a chance, but he got his chance this year. Made his major league debut in July and took off. And he was a real difference maker for the St. Louis Cardinals without all of their big bats. Guys like Piscotty and Tommy Pham later in the season.
And that's how the Cardinals do it. Somebody picks up the pieces. And that's the kind of depth that this club has.
Piscotty and Randall Grichuk were the two that carried this club while they were down. Their big bats were down. And now Lester again working into a 3-2 count. So a lot of pitches in this 4th inning here, rather this bottom of the 3rd with one away.
They're laying off that cutter.
That's his punch-out pitch, obviously down and in.
Another payoff coming. And on the 8th pitch, Lester picks up the strikeout, which is his 4th, and 2 away in the 3rd inning. Say this November, they'll need every trick in the book. TNT's hit series, The Librarians, returns November 1st on TNT. Great to have you with us tonight on TBS. MLB postseason is underway. Don't forget, Dodgers, Mets coming up after we are done here in St. Louis. Very intriguing National League matchups this season. Matt Holliday takes a ball down and in.
And you've got to crowd him. If you don't keep the ball in on him, he will tear you up. Got the base hit. That fastball down the middle is first time up to drive in the run.
Lester threw Piscotty a changeup 3-2. You see him get behind here to Matt Holliday, so he'll throw whatever he's got anytime. He's not afraid.
Well, he's had great numbers against Lester. 7 for 18 with a homer before that hit in the 1st inning.
Be careful, too.
2-0 pitch, and Holiday lets it loose.
So Matt said before the game that where Lester tried to keep the ball in on him, he said that one of the things that's helped make him successful, he said, is that everything from Lester to me is coming to me. So as long as I can stay inside that pitch, I've got a chance. Keep my hands inside that baseball.
Playing in his 69th career postseason game, Matt Holliday. And right off the end of the bat, right over Lester. Castro bobbles and out at first. And Holliday hobbled by that quad injury. The Cardinals might want to take a look at this. Matheny is out. Matheny is going to ask his clubhouse crew to take a look.
He's out. You know, Holliday was moving okay. I mean, he's certainly not streaking, but he never was a fast player.
Don't hurt yourself, but he's out.
Managers.
Those shoes make him look faster than he is.
How about this play around behind the neck?
I mean, look at this. He just barely gets him.
And that strong arm of Castro. And this postseason, remember, managers get 2 challenges. It's one in the regular season. And the way the rhythm has gone during the regular season, the bang-bang plays are not being overturned typically, but we'll see. A lot more cameras on this game. You're supposed to be able to get 30 seconds to make a decision. I think Bill Welke's on his way over. He says, take a look. I mean, you have 2 challenges. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It's a bang-bang play, like you said. I quickly said he was out, but it was a close play. But it's hard to overturn something once they say you're out.
I've never seen a play where the ball came loose as the guy was about to throw it and go around behind his head and then back to his glove.
It is close. They're just now showing the replay on the big board. There's the play by Castro, and he's got a cannon for an arm. That's the only reason it's even close. And remember, the ruling here is the ball has to touch the back of the leather. It has to hit the leather of the glove. It can't just disappear in the glove. So right there, and
wow,
that's a pick 'em.
Clear and convincing evidence. I don't think there's enough to overturn it.
So a bang-bang play. It's either going to be a runner at first and 2 outs, or it's going to be a 3-up, 3-down inning. And the calling umpire is Bill Welke. Dana DeMuth is over there with him. Dana DeMuth is the crew chief, the umpire on the right. He'll be the one to actually get the call from the Replay Review Center in Chelsea, New York.
So, and Dana just told John Lester, keep throwing if you want.
If you only had one review, would you do it?
You might not, especially with 2 outs and nobody on, right?
Exactly. It's not that important.
But that extra challenge does bring this into play. So as long as you challenge and you win the challenge, you get to continue with challenges. And the hands to the headsets, that means a call is coming. And what does Dana DeMuth have to report?
Yes.
That's an out. So the call, I'm sure, they will say will stand. And Holiday is out, and that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for John Lester.
Before earning enough cash back from Bank of America to take their act to the next level. Before earning 1% cash back everywhere, every time. 2% back at the grocery store. And 3% back on gas. Vince of the Flying Branzinos got a Bank AmeriCard Cash Rewards credit card. Because he may earn his living jumping through hoops, but he'd rather not earn cash back that way. That's the spectacle of rewarding connections. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Today,
welcome to Neverland!
Don't miss the family adventure of the year in 3D.
Second to the right and straight on till morning.
Rated PG.
We don't have to worry about predators like our ancestors did. No saber-toothed tigers stalking from the brush. No dire wolves circling the camp. There are no more monsters to fear. And so, we have to build our own.
Huh, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that playing cards with Kenny Rogers gets old pretty fast?
You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. What? You get it?
I get the gist, yeah.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
All right, listen up. We all know that DirecTV's better at this whole TV thing. So to beat them, we're going to get bigger. We're going to merge with Cable World.
Cable World? I can't stand those guys.
They're the worst.
They're totally incompetent.
That company stinks, and I mean they smell. I used to work there. I had to breathe through my mouth the whole time.
Shh. They're here.
This is going to be fun, firing everyone.
Get rid of cable and switch to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Harold Reynolds here. When I need to catch up on baseball, I pull up my MLB.com at-bat app. Highlights and updates whenever I want. Follow the 2015 postseason. Get baseball's #1 app with more than 40 million downloads. The MLB.com at-bat app.
Cardinals on top 1-0. Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. You can celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. And here we go to the 4th inning. Lackey against Lester. Cardinals Cubs matching up for the first time ever in the postseason. Been 21 years where that matchup could possibly happen. As Dexter Fowler rolls one foul. So an unsuccessful challenge by Mike Matheny. Still has one remaining. Holiday out. And a 3-up, 3-down for John Lester. It was Holiday who drove in the run in the first inning. If you're just picking us up, Holiday with a 1-out RBI single after a Piscotti double.
He's doing a good job. Lackey is staying in on Fowler. That base hit and stolen base in the first inning in Pittsburgh. Joe Madden said he felt like, as you said earlier, Brian, set the tone for the game, but it showed also the aggressiveness in which they expected to play that game.
And Fowler in the air. Shallow right center field. Long's going a long way back there, and he'll call it. And he's got it for out #1, and that's 10 in a row to get his night started for John Lackey. Moment ago, good time to catch up with Mike Matheny. Here's Matt Weiner.
Well, Mike, you get the extra challenge here in the postseason. Does it change your methodology?
Yeah, if there's a play like that one, that could have gone either way, and might as well go ahead and take a look at it. These guys are good. You know, they haven't missed a whole lot all season, so might as well take advantage if we see something we didn't think looked right.
I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't think he would have challenged that in regular season. He'd have saved it for a more meaningful spot.
And just keep in mind that once you get to the 7th inning, to the rest of the game, as Schwarber takes a strike, then it becomes, I mean, you can still use a challenge as a manager, but then it becomes an umpiring situation at that point. They can come together and decide to go take a look at replay. So it doesn't mean you're completely out. It's not like the NFL. So just because you may run out of challenges doesn't mean we might not see a review, a crew chief review later in the game.
That's why it seemed kind of silly, because they would do it on their own, and if you thought that you were out of challenges, then it seemed like you get more and more and more just because they take it upon themselves to do it, which I think is great.
Empty him out before the 7th inning, right? There's the shift that is on for Schwarber. Schwarber and Rizzo get the full swing by the Cardinal infielders. And Schwarber takes one in off the plate. Lackey has started this game by retiring the first 10. He has 2 strikeouts and mostly ground balls.
Well, Schwarber clocked one in Pittsburgh off Garrett Cole that he said he was looking for a breaking ball and got it. This guy, Dennis, has almost like a wind-up swing. He turns that front shoulder, picks the right foot up. He's got a lot working in this swing.
Well, you better guess right, or you'll screw yourself into the ground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he swings so hard.
And for the Cardinals to shift like this, the spray charts have to really skew it this way. They had the fewest shifts in all of baseball this season as Lackey misses away, and he's got a little stare down for Phil Cuzzi. That one clearly misses, and there is the first base runner for the Chicago Cubs. It's a 1-out walk in the 4th inning. And time to take a look at tonight's playmakers, presented by Chrysler. The 3 rookies No team that's ever competed in the postseason has had 3 rookie position players starting 3/4 of the games. It looks like, barring injury, that these three are going to accomplish that this season.
I'd say that's a lot.
Dynamic.
If they can still walk.
And here's one of them here. And Chris Bryant with Schwarber at first base. And for the first time tonight, Lackey goes into the stretch.
Right, that's a big deal. If you think about it, he's gotten a couple of pitches from Cuzzy. He wanted that last one that he walked Schwarber with, but it's a big difference. You start styling, get 10 guys out in a row, and all of a sudden you're in the stretch.
And Bryant on the ground. That's got a chance to be 2. Carpenter to second. Long in time to first. And an inning ender for John Lackey. Bryant doesn't hit the ball on the ground that often. That's a bonus for the Redbirds. Around the horn they go. Still 1-0 Cardinals.
FanDuel has definitely changed my Sundays. It's made it a lot more interesting.
FanDuel's one-week fantasy football leagues are paying $75 million a week with immediate cash payouts and no commitment.
I've deposited a total of $35 on FanDuel and won over $2 million.
Just choose a league, pick your team, and get your cash winnings after Monday night.
It's like the best adrenaline rush ever.
Try FanDuel today. We'll match your first deposit up to $200. Go to FanDuel.com and enter promo code END.
Whether it takes 200,000 parts, 800,000 hours of supercomputing time, 3 million lines of code, 40,000 sets of eyes, or 1 million sleepless nights. Whether it's building the world's most advanced satellite, the space station, or the next leap in unmanned systems, at Boeing, one thing never changes: our passion to make it real.
.130 yards now.
Bill's got a very tough lie here.
Looks like we have some sort of sea monster in the water hazard here.
I believe that's a kraken, Bruce.
It looks like he's going to go with the 9-iron. That may not be enough club.
Well, he's definitely going to lose a stroke on this hole.
If you're a golf commentator, you whisper. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
This golf course is electric.
We live in a pick-and-choose world. Choose, choose, choose. But at bedtime, why settle for this? Enter Sleep Number. Don't miss the Columbus Day sale. Sleep IQ technology tells you how well you slept and what adjustments you can make. You like the bed soft. He's more hardcore. So your sleep goes from good to great to wow. Only at a Sleep Number store. Right now, save $600 on the #1 rated bed plus 24-month financing. Hurry, ends Tuesday. No better sleep with Sleep Number.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires that go the distance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Busch Stadium version 3. Opened in 2006, the year the Cardinals beat the Tigers to win their 10th World Series title. They now have 11 after winning it once again in 2011. And they're trying to make a run for number 12 this season. They have been the alpha dog in this National League Central Division and overall in the National League. But while they may be used to postseason baseball here, Eck, this is a much different October now that the Cubs are back in the mix, and this Cubs-Cardinals matchup, the first we've ever seen in the postseason.
Well, the Cubs are here early, right? They were not supposed to be here in 15, and here they are. And this is a club that, to me, is going to challenge the guard of this division for many, many seasons to come. Joe Maddon's done such a great job. You see all the young players, the power that they have. Now the pitching with Arrieta and Lester. I mean, this club could run the table.
That's why I think this first game is so important to the Cardinals. It's kind of a swing game if the Cubs were to win this game, knowing that Arrieta's waiting on them back in Chicago. That's not a good thought.
Jason Hayward, a line shot into right field, a base hit. So Hayward turns it around quickly, and the Cardinals have their lead man on and a base stealer.
Well, Jason turned a lot of things around this year. Led their team in hitting and batting average with .293, but he also turned around his career numbers against left-handed pitching. This ball is scorched, and he hit .272 against lefties this year. That was a marked improvement over his past.
You think he'd have more home runs. That ball downstairs he likes to do some damage with, but 13 home runs. I know this is a big ballpark, but he hasn't hit what, the 26 he hit a few years ago with Atlanta.
Hayward did have a lot of extra base hits, 20+ steals as well. John Lester allowed 44 stolen bases this year. That is the most in the National League. Peralta swinging away at the first pitch for the Cardinals.
He's always aggressive early in the count with runners on base. But I agree with you, Brian. The tone in your voice was like, why not wait and give Jason a chance to steal?
Give him a shot.
Right. I mean, that's ridiculous. 44 steals.
Set a team record. Broke the previous record held by Rick Sutcliffe.
Is that right?
Yeah. Hayward had 23 bags this year. He was caught just 3 times. He has a massive lead at first base. Doesn't run. Now, one thing to watch whenever Lester's on the mound, and you talked about his personal catcher in David Ross. Ross has been with Lester for so long. The way to counter those sizable leads is the back pick and the throws to first, throws behind the runner. And David Ross will do that a lot to try to help out his pitcher. As Peralta comes up empty with a big swing.
And obviously Lester goes to the slide step a lot. He just did right there.
But look at this lead. Jason Hayward is basically daring him to throw to first. And if you don't know the history, John Lester does not like to throw over there. He's got a little bit of the quote-unquote thing about throwing the ball away. Check out that lead.
And Peralta in the air to right, long run, Schwarber, that'll slice foul in the seats. Just to give you a comparison of the stolen base story for John Lester. Now the Cardinals as a team only allowed 69 stolen bases as a pitching staff. Lester's given up 44 when he's on the mound, and Cubs fans, they know the Lester narrative is coming. It is a major weapon for the opposition when they do get speed on the bases, especially in a base stealer like Jason Hayward. But Lester almost refuses to throw to first base. And Hayward stays put, but he's on the run with a pitch in the dirt. Throw is late. And Hayward is in on a wild pitch. That's the second for Lester in this game. And just like that, the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Hayward right here, he is gone. That ball didn't take very long. Comes out of the glove. Ross has no chance, but he's secondary lead, and he is gone.
Well, look where he was.
Right, he was already halfway there to begin with.
Yeah. Great read, though. Saw that ball hit it to the dirt and took off.
Two balls, 2 strikes to count. Johnny Peralta. Jason Hayward at second. And Lester is an inside. In that game against Kansas City last year, Lester, like he did this season, gave up a run in the first. Then pitching for Oakland, he gave up 2 more runs in the 3rd inning. Then he settled in. Still found himself in the game in the 8th inning. When it was all said and done, that great comeback by the Royals. Lester went 7 in the 3rd innings, but he gave up 6 earned runs in that game.
Yeah, Melvin stayed with him too long. There's no way he should have been in that game in the 8th inning. Came back and burned him.
3 balls, 2 strikes. 4th 3-ball count for Lester, and they've all come in the last 5 batters.
Johnny Peralta likes to pull, but he's not a guy that has to have the ball middle in to do that. He likes the ball out away from him. So be careful here with John Lester.
Here's the payoff. And Peralta swing and a miss. Down he goes. Lester makes a big pitch. And a strikeout for John Lester, which is number 5.
That's a huge pitch for Lester right there, 3-2. He walks him really, but he cannot lay off that cutter. It wasn't that real hard cutter. Almost like a slider.
Yeah, I thought it was even more of a slider than a cutter. That's 2 strikeouts on 3-2 pitches.
One a change
One
up.
was a change.
He struck out Piscotty last inning. 1 away. Hayward after that leadoff single and a wild pitch, still at second base, and here is Randall Grichuk. Grichuk, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Talk about the Cardinals shaping their lineup. They have a lot of homegrown players, and their player development certainly should be recognized. But they've made some very shrewd trades as well. Grichuk was part of a trade with the Angels. He came with Peter Borges. Cardinals traded David Freese and Fernando Salas. That was leading up to last season as Grichuk breaks his bat, but just foul. Count and a ball and 2 strikes.
Cardinals have made a couple of shrewd trades over the course of the last couple of years. The guy on the mound getting Lackey. Where you talk about give Alan Craig, right? And Joe Kelly. Craig absolutely just disappeared off the map since he left St. Louis. Joe Kelly ended up having a decent second half for the Boston Red Sox, but look who they got. Basically their ace of the staff after Wainwright goes down.
Right. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Grichuk.
Sub 200 average for Grichuk with runners in scoring position.
And Lester tried to go upstairs. Grichuk lays off.
We were talking about Grichuk's stance earlier, Dennis, and the fact he lays that bat back. That's just there temporarily. I mean, as he's getting ready to swing, if he's getting his hands in the right position to swing it, he looks like everybody else once the pitch is delivered.
Looks like a Judy right now, doesn't he? You know, like he's a slap hitter.
Yeah. Well, Hayward was dancing at second. That got Lester's attention. Third base is an option as well to try to steal, especially with 1 out. Hayward has not wanted to pull the trigger yet. He stays put. Grichuk takes ball. And so the count goes 3-2, another full count, and the Cardinals are now getting deep into at-bats the second time through the batting order.
Lester being really careful. Every run is so crucial. He doesn't want to lay one in there.
And you got a guy with a bad thumb on deck.
There's a lamb on deck.
Full count to Grichuk. Lester delivers, called, strike 3. The pitch tracks had it off the plate, but Lester gets the call, and down goes Grichuk for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, I got to have this one right there. I know it goes around, but boy, it looks pretty where they caught it, doesn't it? Doesn't that look like a strike?
You're the pitcher, Ed.
Doesn't that look like a strike to you? He caught it right there.
Well, Chris Coughlin ought to go look at that and feel like things have been evened up a little bit.
You made Joe jump out of his seat right there. You're like, I got to have that. Joe says, wait a minute.
Wasn't he sitting right? He threw it right where he was sitting.
Because they didn't care if they walked him.
Right.
I was talking to David Ross before the game, and both of these catchers, Molina and Ross, they're so savvy. They know how to talk to umpires. And I was asking David, what's your approach against Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire? He goes, I might give him a little advance work. Hey, don't forget, John Lester throws a cutter. It's a big pitch for him, Phil. And sometimes he works it off that outside edge and comes right back in on the plate. Don't give up on it, sir. Well, if he said it that time, it worked. He gets the call. And now Molina, he's swinging away at the first pitch. Fowler on his way, and he's got it, and that will retire the side. So that's a hold'em for John Lester after a leadoff single. Strands a runner at second.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
This is amazing.
That's amazing.
Real people are discovering surprising things at Chevy.
We're sold. It's so pretty. Beautiful.
It feels great.
Perfect. This is not what I would expect from a Chevy at all.
Get more than you expect for less than you imagined.
The 2015 models are going fast. Find your tag and get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select 2015 vehicles in stock. Or get 0% financing for 72 months on most remaining 2015 Chevy vehicles.
Hey girl, I can't wait to see you soon.
Why pause a spontaneous moment to take a pill? Or stop to find a bathroom? Cialis for daily use is approved to treat both erectile dysfunction and the urinary symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently, day or night. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any symptoms of an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
Can a business have a mind, a subconscious, a knack for predicting the future? Reflexes faster than the speed of thought? Can a business have a spirit? Can a business have a soul? Can a business be alive?
Looking for a real breakfast burrito? Don't look for it at a burger place. Get everything you love about breakfast scrambled, chopped, and dropped into a warm flour tortilla. Stick with the burrito experts, Taco Bell's Grande Scrambler.
500 degrees, 40 below, and protection for 15,000 miles. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
This 2015 NLDS telecast on TBS is brought to you by Cialis and by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
1-0 St. Louis. This great rivalry matching up first time in a postseason. A few Cubs fans have made their way into Busch Stadium, but otherwise a sea of red, and you know they are fired up and ready to go at Wrigley Field. And this series will head back north to Chicago. That'll be Monday for Game 3, and the Cubs have Jake Arrieta lined up to work in that game on Monday. Lackey has a 1-0 lead over Madden and the Cubs. That was a first-inning run. Matt Holliday with an RBI single. And Lackey starts his 5th inning now. Anthony Rizzo at the plate.